And if you're going to Mount Rushmore streamers, obviously, I think Ninja has to be there, right?
Yep.
Those are two easy ones. In other words, Kai is big now, but you know, arguably it's like, now he asked me, so I had to put him on there. And then I was like, oh no, and I swapped Speed out for Kai.
Said that Speed and Kai shouldn't be on the Mount Rushmore.
Oh, yeah, he's racist.
There's no way.
The Twitch CEO is under massive fire. And this time, it's not about a policy change, not about money, not about platform decisions. It's about race, recognition, and respect. Despite years of dominance, record-breaking achievements, and global influence, Twitch's most powerful figure has refused to acknowledge black streamers like Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed among the greatest of all time. And now, the internet is calling it what it is. A racist act hidden behind corporate smiles and selective praise. What's happening right now is bigger than streaming. It's a cultural earthquake, one that exposes the uncomfortable truth about how Twitch sees the creators who built its empire. So stay tuned till the end, because we're breaking down how this disrespect unfolded, why fans are furious, and what this means for the future of black creators on Twitch. And before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe, because this is not just another controversy. This could change the streaming industry forever.
It probably should be more historical.
Yeah.
You know, in other words, Kai is big now, but you know, arguably it's like, now he asked me, so I had to put him on there. But arguably it's like, look, you're great, but you can't be on the Mount Rushmore yet.
See, I put, it should be Speed, Kai, Queso.
Right.
When like, no, there's like so.
Well, initially when I was doing it, because of course part of it is you just don't remember people. And initially I mentioned Speed, and then I was like, oh no, and I swapped Speed out for Queso.
Yeah.
The Twitch CEO was recently asked about the Mount Rushmore of streamers, a symbolic list representing the greatest creators in the platform's history. It was supposed to be a fun conversation, a recognition of the people who've shaped Twitch culture. But when he listed names, fans noticed something glaringly obvious. Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed weren't even mentioned. Two of the biggest names in streaming. Two creators who shattered every record in sight, completely ignored. The internet caught on fast. Within minutes, clips started circulating. People were shocked. How can you talk about Twitch's greatest creators and not even mention Kai? How can Speed not make the list when he's influenced an entire generation of streamers? The outrage wasn't just about the omission, it was about the pattern. Because this wasn't the first time Twitch's leadership had overlooked its black creators.
And if you're going to Mount Rushmore streamers, obviously, I think Ninja has to be there, right?
Yep.
Those are two easy ones. And then I think you probably put Pokey there as, you know, in other words, as a female streamer. If you go back in time, there's so many, you know, yeah, there's so many now. It's tough for me to pick another person now, if that makes sense.
Let's not forget, Kai Cenat holds the record as the most subscribed streamer in Twitch history. His Mafiathon event drew millions of viewers and literally crashed Twitch's servers from the sheer volume of traffic. He brought celebrity culture into streaming. Rappers, athletes, influencers, turning Twitch into something much bigger than a gaming platform. IShowSpeed, on the other hand, revolutionized the streaming culture itself. His chaotic, high-energy style redefined what entertainment looks like for Gen Z viewers. Both of these men have done what few could ever dream of. And yet, when it comes to recognition from Twitch itself, they get silence. And let's be honest, that silence is loud. Because when Twitch's CEO shows up on Kai Cenat's stream, laughing, shaking hands, smiling for millions of viewers, and then days later publicly refuses to acknowledge him as one of the greats, it doesn't feel like an oversight. It feels like hypocrisy. It feels like he was fine using Kai's popularity to boost Twitch's image. But when it came time to talk about who truly defines the platform, suddenly, Kai's name disappears. And that's why fans are angry. Because this isn't just about missing a name, it's about who gets credit for shaping the culture and who gets erased. Now, this is where it gets really deep. Because this controversy has opened up an old wound. Twitch's long and troubling history with black creators being underappreciated, underpromoted, and underrepresented. For years, creators of color have spoken about how hard it is to get featured on Twitch's front page, to land sponsorships, or to get the same visibility that white creators receive effortlessly. Even when events like Black History Month roll around, the support often feels performative. A few shout-outs, a couple of highlight videos, and then it's back to business as usual. And now, when the CEO himself refuses to mention two black creators who've changed the entire face of streaming, it feels like confirmation of what many have been saying all along. that Twitch loves the money and traffic that black streamers bring in, but refuses to give them the respect they deserve. People are calling this moment the tipping point. Twitter, Reddit, and TikTok are flooded with clips comparing Kai and Speed's accomplishments to those of other streamers the CEO did mention. And the difference is staggering. Kai's sub numbers dwarf nearly everyone else's. Speed's influence on global youth culture is unmatched. He's one of the most recognizable faces in the world. And yet, when Twitch's top leadership talks about greatness, their names don't even come up. It's hard not to see that as racial bias. Fans have started calling this what it is: institutional racism hiding under corporate politeness. Because let's face it, Twitch has no problem cashing in on the hype that Kai and Speed create. Every time Kai breaks a record, Twitch's name trends. Every time Speed does something viral, the platform gains more visibility. But when it comes to acknowledging them as part of the elite, as legends who've defined a generation, Twitch acts like they're invisible. And that's why the internet is exploding. Because people are done with the double standards. They're done with seeing black creators work twice as hard for half the recognition. They're done with seeing the faces who carry the platform culturally, who bring life, energy, and relevance, get treated like they're disposable. Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed have given Twitch its modern identity. Without them, Twitch wouldn't be what it is today, a cultural powerhouse that goes beyond gaming. And yet, the very system they helped elevate refuses to elevate them in return. People are pointing out the hypocrisy in real time. The CEO had no problem visiting Kai's Mafiathon, smiling on camera, and enjoying the record-breaking numbers that Kai brought in for the platform. But then, when asked to define greatness, suddenly the names that built Twitch's most explosive era don't belong there. It's that quiet, condescending kind of discrimination that's hardest to call out. The kind that hides behind professional opinion or objective analysis, when in reality, it's a refusal to give black excellence the same respect as white success. This controversy has spiraled so far that even other creators are weighing in. Some Twitch streamers, especially those outside the black community, are now being called out for their silence. Because if the biggest creators on the platform stay quiet while their peers are disrespected, then they're complicit. Meanwhile, black creators are standing together, posting clips of Kai and Speed's biggest moments, reminding the world that they didn't just break records, they broke barriers. And let's be real, this isn't just about ego or titles. This is about representation. When black creators see people like Kai and Speed being ignored despite all their success, it sends a chilling message that no matter how much you achieve, no matter how many records you break, the people in charge will never see you as equal. That's why this is hitting so hard. It's not just about two names being left off a list. It's about years of feeling invisible, disrespected, and overlooked. Twitch's silence since the backlash began only makes things worse. The CEO hasn't issued a clarification or apology. No statement, no acknowledgement, no attempt to mend the situation. And that silence is deafening. Because when people accuse you of racial bias and you don't even attempt to address it, you're sending a message, whether you mean to or not, that you don't care. And that's where Twitch is losing. This isn't just a PR issue anymore. This is a trust issue. Viewers are losing faith in the platform. Creators are questioning whether Twitch is still the place for them. Kai has already hinted that he's considering a move. Speed has built his empire independently on YouTube. If they both decide they're done with Twitch, it could collapse the platform's cultural relevance overnight. But here's the thing, this story isn't over. This could become the turning point for how the industry treats black creators. If Twitch doesn't make a move, if they don't acknowledge what's happening and give these men their flowers, they might lose the very audience that keeps them relevant. Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed are not just entertainers. They're symbols of a generation. They've shown millions of young black creators that success in digital media isn't limited by the color of your skin. They've proven that energy, personality, and authenticity can break through any barrier. But now, Twitch's leadership is testing just how much disrespect the community is willing to tolerate. And let's be honest, the internet doesn't forgive or forget. Every moment of this controversy is being clipped, analyzed, and documented. The CEO's refusal to acknowledge them will live online forever. And when people look back at this chapter of Twitch history, they won't remember the corporate excuses. They'll remember the silence. So watch till the end, because this isn't just a story about Twitch. It's about every major platform that profits off black creativity while refusing to recognize it. It's about every executive who smiles for the camera and praises diversity, but refuses to share real power or credit. And it's about the fans who are finally saying enough is enough. Twitch's CEO may think this will blow over, but it won't. This is the kind of controversy that leaves a permanent scar. Because when you refuse to acknowledge greatness, especially greatness that comes from a community that has carried your platform, you don't just lose respect, you lose your legacy. So if you're watching this right now, hit subscribe because we're going to keep following this story until Twitch either does what's right or loses everything it built off the backs of the very people it refuses to celebrate. This is more than a controversy. This is a reckoning, and Twitch is running out of time.